Hello everybody, welcome to Wali Wonders. There is a war that is going to start in the next 12 hours. And it is a war between two nuclear armed states, Pakistan and India. What is happening? India is sending its drones, and we've heard that two of these drones have been hijacked by the Pakistan army and they have been downed. And India is not stopping at that. India is doing what it does in Kashmir. India has bombed 3 homes in Kashmir. And recently, we hear that India is also targeting Muslims that they think are involved in the attack. So what happened on 22nd of April 2025? Some terrorists don't have a religion or a nation. These terrorists went and attacked 26 innocent tourists that were there for some recreational purposes. And as a Pakistani, I'm truly saddened at these actions of these terrorists. But the point still remains that it was a great security lapse on the Indian front. Recently, we also see that in Pakistan, there was an attack on a train which was carrying a lot of military personnel. Some say around 180 Pakistani army soldiers were killed on those attacks. A group of hijackers first bombed the train, and then they took out the survivors from that train and started indiscriminately shooting at them and killed a lot of them. There was a military operation that Pakistan did, but usually when we take into account the history of what has been happening, India usually through RAW tries to attack Pakistani military installations or Pakistani civilians. And usually Pakistanis are the first ones to blame India. But Pakistanis are not so biased. We also blamed our own military because they were not able to protect their own people. And we also blamed them because they are not able to deal with these insurgents for such a long time. Maybe the way to deal with the insurgents, even in Pakistan and in Jammu Kashmir, is not to murder them, murder their families, bomb them, put drone attacks on them. Maybe the real reason that these terrorists are there is because of the state-sponsored terrorism on them in the first place. And right after those attacks, I had this feeling that there would be an attack on Kashmir. Now, no one knows that these terrorists belong to the Pakistani army, or they were funded by the Pakistani army, or no one took responsibility. They haven't caught these terrorists yet. So why did Modi suddenly start a war that could disrupt the whole world? Some say that Pakistan and India would use tactical nuclear weapons to defend each other. But even if there are like 15 tactical nuclear weapons fired at once, that could be a devastation to the whole region. We could see a famine in the region for the next couple of years. So there are 3 phases to this war. The first one is that India attacks Pakistan and Pakistan retaliates. And this goes on for the next 15 days. And that's a short phase. Pakistan does some face saving, India does some face saving, India takes over some places, Pakistan takes over some places, and the war ends. But seriously, do you really think that this war would end in the next 15 days? Even China and America are getting involved in this war. Maybe, when I think about it, America has never been our friend. And America might want India to have a conflict with China. But a direct conflict with China would be devastating for India. So what's the second best option? Attack Pakistan. And a few hours ago, Modi gave the green signal to attack Pakistan. And Pakistan's General Asim Munir, comes up with a response. He tells our military to attack Modi before he attacks us. So right now, if you hear in the news that the airspace of Pakistan has been closed for any foreign or domestic flights, that means that the war has already started. There has been some attack that we don't know about. And this could be a start of a serious conflict. So the million-dollar question is, why does Pakistan harbor these terrorists? Why does Pakistan even export these terrorists to other nations? Pakistan has been in a very sticky situation from the past 40 years. We have been in the heart of this major conflict. Afghanistan was the prize. We had to make this force that would fight the Russians, so the Russians wouldn't come to the warm waters. And the next target was definitely Pakistan. After the war ended, these mujahideens were labeled as enemy number one. After the 9/11 September attacks, America waged another war on Afghanistan. And that war went on for almost 20 years. And in these 20 years, America forced Pakistan to do all these drone attacks on these innocent civilians in the Pakistani Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region, in the Balochistan region, because we have a very big border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. So there was a proxy war going on in which Pakistan was harboring these terrorists that were working for the American interest. The USA plays a very dirty proxy game. They want all these different terrorist organizations. We now know that ISIS or even Al-Qaeda were mainly American-made forces. So why do we do this? Because the world has forced Pakistan to really harbor these terrorists. Now the blame is on Pakistan. China has now given its PL-15 missiles to Pakistan. Pakistan has a vast military network that can't be that easily disrupted. So what was Modi's first move? Modi's first move was to attack Pakistan without even a single army person coming into Pakistan. Modi said that he wanted to cut the water supply of Pakistan. Kashmir is the jugular of Pakistan. Pakistan is highly dependent on this Indus Waters Treaty, the Shimla Agreement, in which most of the water from the river, Indus River, comes to Pakistan. And this is highly important for Pakistan. And with Modi just announcing this calls for Pakistan army to wage a war against the Indians. But hold on, some things are easier to say because you can't really defeat gravity. There's a rough estimate that if you want to cut the water of Pakistan and to build a dam would have significant costs and would take significant time. And why wouldn't Pakistan army just go there and bomb the dam? What would happen then? So it's a very complicated scenario. So India doesn't stop at that because India thinks it's a mighty nation. India thinks that it could win a battle, a military battle. And why is that? Because Indian army defeated the Pakistan army in Bangladesh. Some say it was the most humiliating defeat. And 1971 was an year when Pakistanis were really, really depressed. We had this young nation, we had all these dreams and all these ambitions. And some were our fault because maybe we weren't so good to the Bengalis. Now, India and Pakistan haven't fought a major battle after Kargil. What happened in Kargil was also really interesting. Initially, Pakistani forces took over the area that is Siachen Mountain. And according to some sources, US intervened and our president, Nawaz Sharif, had to stop the war. It was a humiliating end to the war for Pakistan because a lot of Pakistani troops had to return to their own country and there was heavy bombardment from the Indian side. India thinks that now if in 2025, when India is so mighty, India has such a big economy. India just got some planes from France, and they're getting the F-35 fighter jets from America. And they think that they are in this situation that they can defeat Pakistan army easily. But really and truly, wars don't happen like that, because Pakistan has been preparing for this moment for the last, I don't know how many, since the beginning. The borders that were drawn after World War II, they were the final borders, and no one really wants to change those borders. We had a war in Syria. We had a war in Iraq. We had a war in Afghanistan. Some of the powers wanted to break these countries into different countries. But what really happened? They killed so many Kurds. They killed so many Yazidis. But they couldn't really partition the countries. If you really take it in a literal sense, if Pakistan breaks up, India breaks up as well. Because if Punjab is taken over, if Punjab is broken from Pakistan, then the Punjab from the Indian side would also have to be broken. But really, India doesn't want to control the Pakistani side of Punjab or Kashmir. If you ask the real scholars of India, and nor does Pakistan want to take over the Afghanistani side, because these borders that were set in 1947, most of the nations have agreed on them. So why this war now? This goes back to 1947, before the partition. Why did Pakistan and India get separated? We have the two-nation theory that Hindus and Muslims can't live together in harmony. But the serious fact is that there are more Muslims in India living today than Muslims living in Pakistan. So are these Muslims treated as third world citizens? Modi and his regime have tried their best to treat them as some aliens, and we heard that Modi even wanted to revoke the citizenship of these Muslims. But Modi can't really do that. The point is that Muslims before the partition used to go to Hindu festivals, and all the Hindus would come to Muslim festivals like the Eid. And Muslims and Hindus have been living in harmony for, I don't know, the past 1,000 years. So these British come up with this unique plan after the War of 1847, that if Muslims and Hindus unite, the British can't really keep a control on India. So what do? They start communal violence. They throw a pig in a mosque. They slaughter a cow in the Hindu temple. And they kill a religious leader of the Muslims. They kill a religious leader of the Hindus. And this communal violence goes on and on and on. We do believe that Pakistan was created for a greater reason. And our forefathers and Allama Iqbal and Quaid-e-Azam had a great vision for Pakistan. And Pakistan will have a really important role in the coming century. But what happened when Pakistan was created? In 1947, there were 1 million Muslims and Hindus that were slaughtered. There was a mass migration of people. Most of the Muslims that were living on the Indian side left everything and came to Pakistan. And most of the Indians living on the Pakistani side left everything and went to India. People lost everything, and they lost a lot of their own relatives, and it was a brutal partition. What was Quaid-e-Azam's dream? Quaid-e-Azam didn't want a hostile relationship between Pakistan and India. Quaid-e-Azam, the creator of our nation, wanted two states that were living in peace, like Canada and America. But what happens is that the generals take over and they create this border between Pakistan. Who would have thought that Lahore and Delhi, who were twin cities, you can literally go from Lahore to Delhi in like 30 minutes. And these cities have been partitioned for the last 75 years. So maybe it was the Western agenda all along. Maybe both these countries were partitioned because they wanted a buffer zone. They wanted an insurance policy that if in the future, in the coming century, the subcontinent would rise, if China would rise, if another Asian country would rise, there would be this conflict zone between Pakistan and India, two nuclear armed states that would disrupt the whole world forever and ever. No one wants a war, nor do Pakistanis, nor do Indian people want a war. This war is something greater. And maybe in the next 12 hours, there's a little attack by the Indian side for some face saving, and then Pakistan retaliates for some face saving, and that's the end of the war. But if this goes on for a prolonged time, you have to know that there are greater powers involved, and this could literally be the start of World War III. We already see what's happening in Gaza. We already see what's happening in Syria. We already see how the world is being destroyed over and over again. So these conflicts aren't ending. And with Donald Trump coming in, he was supposed to stop the World War III. He was supposed to end these conflicts. But it seems like these conflicts have no end. It seems like the world has turned its blind eye, and they just want Pakistan and India to fight it out. I hope you were intrigued by all the knowledge that I gave you, and I hope you also pray with us that there isn't a major escalation between Pakistan and India. Thank you for the support. We'll see you next time. Stay safe.